Is role reversal ruining your relationship? Grab your stick, grab your drink. Let's get into this thing right now. Yeah. It's your boy JB, live and direct to you. You know what it is. Come on and join in. Ha. What up? It's your boy JB coming at you live and direct, and you know what it is, man. It's a Smoke Something, Drink Something podcast. I'm the real Cigar Jeff. Y'all know where to find me, man. We ain't gonna go through all that, but do me a favor. Hit that button, hit that like button, mash that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications, man. We jumping right into this thing. We getting a little bit of a late start, so we gonna make up some time. I gotta introduce my panel, though. TLC is in the building, guys. He's still a little under the weather, but you know he doing this for y'all. He doing this for y'all, man. I'm gonna let him tell y'all where y'all can find him on the socials and what he's sipping on and what he's smoking on tonight.
What's going on, Ronald? What's going on, JB? Hey everybody. Thanks for listening. It's your boy TLC. You can find me on Instagram at TLClay1. I'm also on Patreon. The joke I didn't tell. The joke I didn't tell is the Patreon page. I haven't put anything up there in a while, so I need to update that. But tonight I'm doing a red wine. This is 50 Provinces, I guess it's called.
Oh, okay.
Little red wine, so taking it easy tonight. But I was thinking about the podcast, like what am I going to smoke on tonight? And as I was thinking about role reversals. I was like, whenever you think about like woman in charge, woman running the show, you think about like bees in a beehive. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I saw this stick. It's the Tiro Fuente Queen Bee. For this closure, the bee is the letter B, not the animal bee. But I said for tonight's purposes, I'll do the Queen Bee. So yeah.
No wonder when I asked him what he was smoking, what was he smoking tonight? No wonder he didn't want to give it up before we went live. This cat boy, I tell you, bro. Look, he under the weather, y'all. So we still got, we appreciate him coming on, man. We appreciate him coming on. Yeah, I'll let it ride out tonight since he under the weather. I didn't think he was gonna make it, so we'll let it ride out, man. Of course, y'all know who I got next, man. My A1 from day one, man. She in the building. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Tell y'all what she's sipping on tonight. She been running all day, but made it in time for the podcast, man. So we glad to have her back. Go ahead, Ron, and let them know where they can find you, what you're sipping on.
What's up, fellas? Thanks, JB, for having me on the call. PLC, glad you're feeling a little better.
Thank you.
Tonight, I'm drinking. You can find me on IG at RNBLMBT. I don't know if we said that, but that's that. Tonight, I had to bring it back to my hot chocolate with my and you gotta have Nestle hot chocolate. Nestle. And I bought back my rum chata. I'm trying to finish off this bottle before this season is out. So the rum chata, and you can't drink your alcohol without having your glass of real people.
Bring it over there a little bit more. Bring it over there a little bit. There you go. There you go.
And this just some good old ice water.
Which way? Good old right. You got to have that water in your merch.
Yeah, as a backup. We over here sniffling and coughing. We need some water just in case.
Appreciate you being on. Appreciate you. You told them where they can find you, right, Ron?
Yes, I did that.
Appreciate you being on. My soundboard back working tonight, TLC. We about to do this thing up. All right. Y'all know how that works. Appreciate you, Rhonda. Of course. Y'all know I keep it easy. And just to let all the people know, I know I'm going to stop introducing myself where y'all can find me, because magically people only got a problem with me saying where I can find me. But they ain't got no problem where TLC or Rhonda can find themselves. So I just said, okay, you know what? I just put my stuff down in the description. I listen to my viewers, right? Everybody, the number one person y'all don't want to hear from. I get it. I'm starting to get it. Anything for views. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I am smoking my Enclave, finishing off that. And of course, I'm matching it with my Four Roses. You can see TLC is getting low. Next week I'm gonna have to have me something else, man. But bro, I'm enjoying these Enclaves. They get me right. I ain't go as far as TLC did tonight, but it would have. Yeah, I like the thought. I mean, I ain't gonna give them too many props, but I like the thought. But yeah, so let's get into this thing, guys. It's role reversal. ruining your relationship? TLC, when you got the topic and as you were recovering, tell me what you was thinking.
Well, I thought about the night before you gave me the topic, and of course I was sick this past week, so I spent a lot of time in bed. But I had the TV on. I was watching women's basketball actually, and it was the collegiate level. So it was, I think it was Ohio State versus Iowa, and the number one player on the women's side, Kathleen Clark, I think is her name.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark. She was playing. Of course, Ohio State won. It was a great game, though. Very competitive or whatever. But
They knocked the crap out of her at the end.
As I had the game on, it felt like something was just missing there. And I don't know if it was just women's basketball, or I think it was just because it was women's basketball. Because I think, like, when I watch soccer, I watch men's soccer, I watch women's soccer. It's both competitive to me. I'm invested in both. But there's something about women's basketball that just doesn't catch my attention or something. And it made me think about this and the topic. And I was like, maybe the issue isn't women's basketball. Maybe it's me. Because we talk about traditions and our upbringing. I wasn't raised watching women's basketball. I was watching men's basketball growing up. But I didn't watch soccer at all. So I think when I see a soccer game, regardless if it's a man or a woman playing, I don't have that pre-notion of what the game should be. I learned about soccer later on in life. Whereas with basketball, I was raised watching men's basketball, so I have a certain expectation. I'm expecting them to kind of bang around on the inside and all that. So bringing that to the relationship side, I'm thinking like on the relationship side, maybe it's me. I have a pre-notion of what a relationship should be and a man's role and a woman's role. But that's not to say there's something wrong with a woman being in charge or doing whatever. Maybe the problem is me, actually. So,
TLC, have you medicated before you came on this podcast?
No.
Is it drinking? You okay? I was just making sure what no interactions with that wine because I ain't never heard you say nothing like that.
This is my normal thought process, but
this is your normal thought. Okay, I like where you're coming from. I didn't expect you to tie that in, but I like where you're coming from. We gonna use that, right? We gonna use that, Rhonda. When you got the topic, tell me what you were thinking.
Well, my mind was in the gutter, so I can't tell you what I was thinking.
Yeah, not your initial thoughts. Not your initial thoughts.
You corrected me, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Which was like what 10 minutes ago. So, role reversal works if that's what the people set as their boundaries for their relationship. Like if that's whatever that may entail. I just think that, what if the woman is more handy in the house, like doing like certain things inside the house, not being a stay-at-home mom, but if she's better at fixing things around the house, you know what I'm saying, or things like that, and then the guy is like, well, I'll cook and do the laundry, like if you're talking about traditional roles. But I do feel like it can be a huge issue if it's not already set up in your relationship once y'all make it official for what you guys want to do. But don't say, oh, I did the dishes for you. No, dishes and chores are household things. You didn't do nothing for me. You should be doing that as part.
Okay, all right.
So those things can't be role reversal. So I just got to get my thoughts right so I get out of the gutter for this particular podcast. Back to you, JB.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to y'all, man, and I appreciate y'all perspective. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all my answer off rip, and I believe role reversal is ruining relationships. I believe it is the number one destroyer of relationships, and I'm gonna go there. I want y'all to hear what I gotta say. Then I want y'all to get. I'm trying to just kind of getting some topics out there. I don't want to talk in just terms of male and female, man and woman. In a relationship where people are missing it is the follower has become the leader and the leader has become the follower. Mm-hmm. See, because in a relationship, there has to be somebody leading and there has to be somebody following. Well, if that person who is designed to lead is not following, and that person who is designed to follow is now leading, we ain't even talking about gender, right? Because whoever you get with, you know who the leader is and who the follower is, right? And so, and neither one of them are bad. The problem is when the roles get reversed, and now the leader wants the follower to act like a leader, and the follower wants the leader to act like a follower. And so now you got fights in the relationship because now the follower says, I want you to understand what I'm going through. And the leader says, I want you to understand what I'm going through. And now you got to compromise of two people meeting in the middle, and the relationship ain't growing because all you did was create stagnation. So role reversal is ruining relationships because people who should be leading are following, and people who should be following are leading. And that's just causing strife. Go ahead, TLC, jump in there. Let me know what you think.
You're saying a person who's designated to lead and a person who's supposed to lead in this, but who says who's designated to lead or who's supposed to lead?
Okay, I got you on that.
I did a little research just before I got up here. Just open up the internet and Google.
So you wasn't that sick? You wasn't that sick, huh?
No, today. Okay. Today. I mean, since I had to show up here.
I'm starting to think you just didn't want to talk to me. I thought you were really sick. This fool here doing research.
No, today before I just Googled like matriarchic relationships, societies, basically. Mm-hmm. And it said they still do exist today, mostly in Asia or Africa, but versus a patriarchic society where you have the man in charge, you have like women in charge mostly. They make a lot of decisions for this society or tribe. So it does exist today. And that's why I was saying, like, maybe it's my perception, just the way we were raised, the way we were taught was that, oh, a woman is not supposed to be in a leadership role or whatever.
But see, TLC, I didn't say that. What I'm saying to you is whoever asked you out, whoever got asked out, whoever did the asking out is the person who's the leader. Whoever accepted is the person who's the follower. Now, if that start changing, relationship ruined. See, this is what happens, guys. See, what happens is the script start to get flipped. The script start to get flipped, right? And TLC, hear what I'm saying now. If you were the person that was the facilitator, and then once y'all got together, you stopped facilitating. Okay, it's not about gender. It's about the person who initiates and the person who receives. See, TLC, look, I'm traditional just like you. I'm traditional just like you. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I believe it's the man's role to lead. The problem is a lot of men ain't being taught to lead. A lot of men are being taught to follow. Well, now the woman is leading. And now she's just getting mad. Rhonda just said something. Hey, baby, I did the dishes for you. You ain't do the dishes for me. That's household job. And we got to start recognizing that the how do I put it? We got to stop domesticating our people that we're with. How you cook and clean is not a barometer of the relationship person you need to be. Because you can hire somebody to do that. Right? I tell people all the time, if I gave you a cook and I gave you a maid, what would happen to your relationship? Right? Because what happens is we're trying to, this role reversal thing, you done took a girl you were attracted to, and now you want her cooking and cleaning? You want her walking around in sweatpants and a bonnet on, cooking and cleaning, then you going to go get with somebody else who ain't doing all that. So don't do these role reversals where I got with you because you were an attractive person to me. Now I'm going to turn you into my domesticated servant. Come on, TLC. That's my point when I'm talking about why role reversal. We get with these people based on one role, then we reverse it when we get with them. So now I'm supposed to sit in a chair while you serve me and bring me slippers? I ain't never seen that done. But you got people who think that's supposed to be the case. Ryder, jump in there. Let me know what you think.
Okay, like if that's your antiquated thoughts on something like that.
Not antiquated.
If that's your antiquated thoughts on something like that, then shame on you. Your relationship should be ruined, like to pieces.
Yeah, your girl in the comments, y'all. Your girl in the comments.
But
y'all look at the comments when you get a chance.
Okay, if you don't, again, it's nothing less attractive than a man who does, for me as a woman, than a man who doesn't know which way he's going and what he's doing and what his plans are. But then you do have some guys who are just made to serve, and they want you to be okay. And is everything okay with you? And let me do this and let me do that. Well, get your tail somewhere else. Like go find someone who wants that. But then somebody has to take the lead. I don't care if it's
Absolutely, I
work,
agree.
if it's personal, or whatever. Someone always has to be the one. And if you mean that in certain situations people lead, then let that be that. But it'll ruin it. Like somebody has to be the leader.
And Rhonda, that's my point though. That's my point, right?
Yeah.
So now you got a situation where people are over here switching up roles, don't realize they reversing everything they were working toward. Right? And again, the key is I had to learn the last thing you want to do is try to turn somebody. If the person was a maid and a cook for somebody when you met them, okay, cool. But why are we going back with how much advances we've had in technology and availability of things? Our parents cooked because my grandmother cooked because you couldn't go to places to eat.
Yeah.
She wasn't cooking because she loved cooking. Right in the 50s and the 60s, you couldn't go.
In her house coat. Yes.
In her house coat, in her hair tied up. But we bringing back these traditional things of cooking. I remember years ago we went to the Biltmore Estate. And one of the things that happened is the Biltmore wife, she wasn't doing no cooking and cleaning.
No, she was.
She had somebody, and she had a separate room where somebody dressed her, did all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, TLC, you don't know this, but we went on our annual trip and we went to Asheville. So, and we signed up for the VIP behind the scenes tour. Rhonda almost lost her mind because when they started telling Rhonda that the slaves at the Biltmore Estate were happy slaves. Rhonda was
taking stuff.
Rhonda, oh look, we treated them good down here. Here's one of their rooms. Right there, you didn't go up to see their room. And then they showed you, oh yeah, this gate was so that the dog, whenever the dog wanted to come down, he could just walk in here and the slaves could feed him. He treated them just like family. And I'm like, hey, Ron, like I can't take this. You telling me how happy this is word out here? But see, that's the reason why I'm talking. That's the reason why I'm talking to y'all about this role reversal thing. A lot of these relationships are falling apart because we're changing up these roles once the person makes the relationship formal. Once you make the relationship formal, now people saying, well, I want you to do this. But my grandmother cooked because there was this thing called segregation. There was this thing called, man, we can't afford to go out. There was all these things that happened that created that. Then that gets passed down. And now all of a sudden, you got a restaurant on every corner now. That wasn't the case when we grew up. Right? But my grandmother also cooked. Because she didn't have to work. And what do I mean by that? Back then, there was a job called housewife, which means you manage the house. So TLC, the number one thing that I see happening is you got guys now trying to do these traditional roles, thinking they're getting a woman to submit to them. But because she cooking and cleaning for you don't mean she's submitting to you. Right? Now you done gave her a role she wasn't designed for. The woman, that person was designed to help expand your vision. She wasn't designed to make sure that the Tide Pods were refilled. Right? That ain't her job. It ain't her job. It ain't her job to come in there and bathe you. You can bathe yourself. If you look, think about it though. You get man, listen to some of these things on social media that you see guys. I'm just talking from a guy perspective. I'll let Rhonda talk from the woman perspective. These guys are expecting these women to become servants, but they ain't paying them. What's the going rate for a maid, a living maid? What's the going rate for a living chef? Tell me what it is, and tell me, are you paying her that?
It ain't free.
It ain't free, and guess what? If she doing it for free, there's some poison in it.
Oh Lord.
TLC.
Not no poison.
If she doing it for free, there's some antifreeze in that food. Go ahead, jump in there, TLC. Let me know what you're thinking.
I think a relationship, I don't want to say has balance, but I mean, like you say, somebody has to be the leader, somebody has to step back.
You're the follower. Yeah.
I think it's based on the situation. Like, I think you can have both. I think in certain situations, maybe You might be calling the shots, and in other situations in that relationship, maybe she's a little bit better at calling the shots. And I don't think there's anything wrong. I think you mentioned on a podcast before going through the airport, the guy was pushing the stroller and carrying the baby, stuff like that. Okay, that's not to say she didn't have other things she was doing. Maybe she's the one to put the trip together. I'm just saying, I don't see what the problem is with switching certain roles in a relationship that may not be seen as traditional. And if that's the case, then I don't know why it would ruin a relationship. I don't think it would ruin a relationship. She's just taking on different tasks, and that's all it is. So a relationship is what you make it, and what that couple makes it. So as long as they're comfortable with whoever doing whatever assignment, as long as it works out and gets done, I don't see a problem with it.
But TLC, see, that's why I disagree with you, though, right? If again, when you meet somebody for the first time, what's your name? What do you do? Right? If she don't come up to you or he don't come up to you and say, I do these things that are non-traditional and it's in a role reversal way, if all of a sudden you have that TLC, you got a problem. See, I said it's role reversal ruining a relationship, right? Real Cigar K in the comments, she said traditional roles of our grandparents, they no longer exist. And people who try to breathe life into it, they just set themselves up for failure. It's a different time. You cannot recreate the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. It's just a different time. Try to get a rotary phone if you want to, right? You can't find it. But you know what? Now, if I try to make you get a rotary phone, because guess what? That letting people know you really love me when you can have a cell phone. And I think that's the problem that we have. And the reason why it's ruining relationships, guys, is because this wasn't communicated up front that I'm expecting you to cook for me, clean for me, serve me in a domesticated role, TLC. And we not even getting into how women playing in men's sports and men playing in women's sport. We ain't even gotten to that yet. Right? Because you know how many couples are fighting when they see the girl down here in Florida playing golf? The guy down here playing golf against the girls in Florida won the whole tournament by a landslide. They wasn't even making him hit from the men's tees. And he just lapped the field. And so what we're talking about right now, guys, is you got this role reversal. You got this role reversal going on. And now it's just a bunch of fighting. Right? This is why we fighting about who gonna play the tag.
I don't think that's what the fighting is over. I think the fighting is over maybe a person who's taking on a position and they're making bad decisions. And that might not be necessarily a role reversal thing. It's just a person you're arguing over the decision making process.
But here's the deal, TLC. See, here's what happened with a lot of relationships. Decisions are not collective. Decisions are unilateral. This is the problem. When you're the leader, you make the decision. Now, a leader knows the people. A leader knows the people who is under him, which means you ain't making rash decisions. You studied the people who are following you, and you know what we need to do. And I know you disagree, but we don't sit around and try to make decisions. The decision is made because you've studied your environment. You know everything that needs to be done. And before you jump in at TLC, I want to get Rhonda in here. I believe that leaders got to go back to being leaders. And the person, let me tell y'all, the person who follows is the most powerful person in the relationship, by the way. because both of y'all are equal. Both of y'all are equal, TLC. You're choosing to follow. Follow ain't something that you're forced into. Choosing to follow that person that's the leader is the most powerful person in the relationship. Jump in there, Rhonda. Let me know what you're thinking.
No, this may be off base, but like what there's this saying that says, "Happy wife, happy life."
Bang.
Right? I don't care for that. I think that's a bunch of crap. And that means that you automatically have to be submissive, right? So either way, like whichever way the seesaw goes, it's still not good, right? And so if all you are here to do in a relationship is to please somebody else, again, your relationship should be ruined. That person needs to be responsible for where their happiness lie, and they need to know themselves well enough that they don't need somebody doing things like that for them. But I know that that's how relationships could be for a lot of people, because hey, I got to do this for this person so they'll stay, instead of being being the authority in their own lives and say, no, I will meet the person who I want to have and not be a doormat for somebody too. So yeah, somebody does have to choose when you're in a relationship who's going to do what. But they break it down probably into, that's why I'm sticking on household chores and stuff, because I don't know if they base it off of decision making with money. You don't talk about money till money ain't there.
Mm-hmm. That's
Most
true.
people don't talk about money until it ain't there. Like, okay, what's going on with the money, right? And so I think you have to hit some rocky things in your relationship for you to even address who role is what, and then you working from a mad position. Oh, this heifer got to do this,
Yeah.
cause it
Why
is,
and
and
why
it's
social
ruined.
media is so powerful? Because these people who are mad in relationships, who are not on the same page in relationship, just spending all their time on their phone. And and again, why are you spending your time on your phone? If I'm spending my time on my phone, I ain't getting in a fight. Right? I ain't getting in a fight, TLC.
Let me
And I
watch
think
these fights.
I like what Rhonda said. I'm doing things to get you to stay instead of reminding you of why we got together in the first place. Because of where we said we were going. And none of those places you said you were going involved this person cooking and cleaning for you and being your domestic servant. None of that happened. That's what I'm saying, TLC. It's ruining relationship. When I talk to you about that dude in the airport pushing the stroller, carrying the baby while the wife is just walking with no stress. Well, guess what? That dude is not gonna keep doing that.
Or maybe she had the baby the whole time on the vacation.
Doesn't
So
matter.
heifer, you take the baby for the airport.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Ron. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you see people, right? You see people struggling because once the relationship becomes formalized, we start doing these role reversals. We start putting people in roles that they weren't in when the relationship was just having a good time.
But
And that's where
on a very superficial level, like when the three of us are hanging out, me, you, and PB, when we're hanging out, we don't ever touch no door. You'll always grab our bags, all that kind of stuff. Does that mean that me and PB can't do it? No. It's just that, oh, let me fall back. I know Jeff got this.
right. But guess what?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. I remember when I first moved to Michigan. Don't open my door. I ain't know what to do when somebody told me don't open the door.
That's because you
Right?
was black.
But I think what we're finding is the one thing we're finding is that a lot of people struggle with being the best at your role. And for all y'all who listening to this, telling you, like from a guy perspective, man, if I do this, this, and this, and by the way, if it's we did a podcast called 50-50. If it's 50-50, she ain't got to do nothing. If it's 50-50, she ain't got to do nothing. Right? And I think a lot of people are struggling with some of the things y'all asking people to do. These are paid professions. So how is it that this person's supposed to do it for you for free and she's not getting paid or he's not getting paid? Jump in there, TLC. Let me know what you think. I know what that smile mean when you smile, and I know you waiting to come in now.
It brought something up to my mind. When Rhonda was talking about happy wife, happy life, and decision making, this story popped in my head. And we'll just say, I'm going to try to keep it as anonymous as possible. So we'll say one of my homeboys. One of my homeboys had to take this trip to visit some relatives. He was going to drive. And it was like I don't know, like 10, 12-hour drive.
He ain't talking about me, y'all. He talking about one of his other boys.
No, not you, just somebody
Okay, good.
else. So I asked him, I was like, what time are you pulling out in the morning? I thought he was going to say, like, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night. You got a 10, 12-hour drive on your hands. He was like, yeah, we going to leave around 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what? You going to hit all that traffic and everything? The guy was like, yeah, my wife, she doesn't like being on the road at night. I was like, okay, so, she's going to help you drive and everything. Talking about rolls and reversals. He was like, nah, I'm driving the whole way.
Yeah, that can make sense.
You driving the whole way, but you leaving in the morning because she doesn't like being on the road at night.
She could be asleep. Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, you know what? Why don't she just sit on the passenger seat, go to sleep, and dream about the sun? If she don't like it, he was like, you know what? I just don't want to get in an argument with her. Yep. I don't want to hear her voice the whole trip. So, as a man, you're the one driving. You're the one doing all the driving, but you have no decision in this. You'd rather go against your common sense, be stuck in traffic, morning traffic, all that on the highway, just so you don't have to hear her complain, versus getting on the road in the middle of the night, having peace and quiet. She could sleep. And it's like that whole thing just blew my mind. And I was like, first of all, this is why I'm single.
But no,
I got common sense. I got good sense. Like, I can't have somebody tell me something. I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna just go with it because I don't want to argue with them.
But TLC,
I don't care about that happy life. I gotta do what makes sense. Like
TLC. But I'm glad you brought that up, because you know what the real problem is. The real problem is because he's busy doing happy wife, happy life. He'll make enough money to fly. Because if you can fly, one of the things you're gonna find. Why do we take road trips? And we got taught growing up, oh, we gonna spend time as a family. You get old, you realize, man, we couldn't afford it. Like, Jesus Christ, we couldn't afford to fly. So what happens? On the road. We get taught that, oh man, that dude, man, hey, JB a road warrior, bro. He can drive. You thinking like that, man, I'm a good driver. No, y'all had to learn to drive because you couldn't afford to fly. And so a 10-hour drive, that's why I knew you wasn't talking about me. There ain't nowhere in the world I ain't taking. Look, at this point, if I got to drive 10 hours, I ain't coming. and so the reason why I'm saying this to you guys, TLC brings up a good point. Look at the real issue is when you get into these role reversal relationships, your profession suffers. Your money-making ability suffers. Right? Because guess what, guys? If your wife works, or if your girl works, or your significant other works, their role doesn't call for them doing domestic stuff. And if they at work doing domestic stuff, they quit. You ask somebody whose title does not include domestic stuff. Hey, Tanya, can you go in and clean up the break room for us? No, that ain't my job description.
Absolutely.
So what makes y'all think this? What makes y'all think this woman gonna come home and clean your house? Right? Ask anybody who, if y'all in these relationships and you asking this woman to do all this stuff for you, ask what happens when her boss asks her to do it at work. It ain't happening there either. And I think a lot of guys don't understand how much those professions, you have to pay them to have your personal chef and your personal maid. And on top of that, you want other stuff too. So when you say happy wife, happy life, no, happy wife, miserable husband. Because in order for me to be happy, somebody got to be sad. In order for me to be rich,
happy house, happy spouse. Happy house, happy spouse.
No, let me tell you,
everybody.
Rhonda, no, because ain't no such thing as happy in relationship. You got in a relationship.
You know that, yeah.
Right? You got into a relationship because both of y'all decided y'all could get to a goal quicker. Y'all didn't get to a relationship to go backwards and fighting over. Yeah. Why are we fighting over? Why are we fighting over what we like? The hardest part that I very rarely cook. If we fighting over anything, is where we gonna eat. But we going out to eat. And if we don't go out to eat, it's gonna be DoorDash. Right? So very rarely do I cook. And I do that on purpose because in my line of work, guys, why do most people fight? They fighting over where they're going to eat, fighting over where they're going to go on vacation, right? And like Rhonda said, then you're going to be fighting over money. And now all of a sudden, if you can remove some of those things, it takes a lot of things. It takes a lot of things out of the equation. TLC brought up that point. I want y'all to hear what he said. That's the word of the night. This is why I'm single. I do stuff that make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want all the people in the relationship to understand what that man just said. I ain't gonna even let him repeat it. I'm not in a relationship because I do stuff that makes sense. Now, all of y'all in the relationship gonna attack him. All of y'all gonna attack him. Why? Because what he just said just hit you to the core. And now, well, that's what, look, man, bro, it ain't like that, man. It ain't like that. Yeah, it is. What he just said, I'm gonna do things that make sense. Y'all got to understand in a relationship, I just want y'all to realize in a relationship, you doing a bunch of stuff that don't make sense and y'all trying to figure out a way to not argue. He just preached. He just preached. Ron, what you think about that, Ron?
I totally agree with that. If I hadn't seen it firsthand with my own experiences with my friends who are married, a lot of stuff you just do. So, man, I ain't got time to hear that. To hear the stuff. To hear the
that Bailey's kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
Like to hear the things, man.
I
And
just
that's
give in. I just give in.
yeah, that's
You
so
can have it.
unfortunate because you think about the opportunities that whether that's the man or the woman, like if they're excelling in their career, things that have been stopped just because there was a spouse that lacked any type of vision to
Mm-hmm.
even say like let's do something different because they're stuck in their ways. Like yeah, that stuff right there is very frustrating. And to say that stuff like that is ordained by God, that's a crack of bull. It's just a crock of bull.
And I'm glad you said it. TLC, you just preach. I'm single because I do things that make sense.
We need that on a shirt.
Right? That's a shirt. That's a shirt in itself.
I need
So
that on a
now I'm
shirt.
saying this. I'm saying this to y'all. I'm saying this to y'all on this podcast because how is it that two single people who before they met were doing things that made sense? And y'all got to understand the reason why I have TLC and Rhonda on this podcast. And I hear y'all in the comments. I hear y'all, and I know some of y'all text me. They single. What they know about relationships? Everything. Because the people in
Yeah.
relationships calling them,
Mm.
calling them, crying about the relationship they in. That's why y'all think. Why do y'all think we? Why do y'all think? Why do y'all think I can get the material?
Look, as single people, I think me and Torrance, we probably think most about who gonna find us if we die in the house.
That's the only thing they're worried about, y'all.
Who gonna find us if we
I
die in the
always
house?
want. I was like, how long is it gonna take? They're gonna find me eventually.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it gonna take?
And it's so funny because we talked about this last week on the podcast. Is about your mindset and that kind of thing. But look, the only thing they worried about is if I die in this house by myself. So Rod and TLC are literally trying to die in public because don't nobody want the funeral director to come get them stinking. Like that's the number one thing. You don't want nobody to find you stinking. Or passed out after you got out the shower, after you took a something like you don't want nobody to find you like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just telling y'all right now, what he just said is gonna be one of the takeaways for tonight. I'm single because I do things that make sense. Now, all of y'all in a relationship.
I do want to say, going back to this role reversal ruin the relationship. When I think about myself, it's like as long as the woman is making sense with or making sound decisions, I don't have a problem with her leading or being in charge. Same thing with the car thing. If she's like, hey, you go to sleep, I'll drive at 6 o'clock. Okay, no problem. But when I think about that same situation, I'm like, okay, you're driving down the road. You're the one doing all the driving. Why does she care what time you leave? You're the
TLC.
one. It's a decision. It's for those
No.
situations. That's what bothers me.
No, TLC, you didn't get to the root of the problem. The root of the problem, we going to see his family. I don't want to be there early. We gonna leave and get all that traffic. I do. They going to his side of the family. I can guarantee you that's the part of the story you leaving out because she don't want to go. You making her go. They probably got kids. So in essence, if he want to see his family, you got to do all this negotiating to be able to get her to go because we got to go to our family, act like we getting along. And she want him sitting in traffic. She want to make sure. No, she want to make sure he don't ask her to go again. And that's the part TLC leaving out. Now, I'm going to jump into this real fast because I want y'all to see this. 6 reasons role reversal rarely work. And I chose this because this is an article in 2021. So I try to choose articles after COVID, right? You always want to choose articles after COVID because all the stuff people tried to hide and act like they were all happy went out the door. 6 reasons role reversal doesn't work. I just want to go through this real fast. I'm going to go down to the 6, right? I became resentful because when she was laid off, things turned ugly. Remember what we talked about? TLC talked about it in the Kiki Palmer podcast. The working is what drives a relationship. Don't ever forget that. And if y'all are not going home trying to figure out how to expand our working ability and how to expand the finances and all that, that relationship is going to be a struggle. I became resentful because my husband didn't have the same drive and motivation as I did to succeed. As such, I'm now separated with 2 children, but I know if my ex-husband was on a trajectory towards success, rather than taking the path of least resistance, we could possibly still be married. Now, TLC, that's what you said. What did he say? Man, I just don't want to fight. I'm going to leave at 6 in the morning because she don't like driving at night, right? Y'all see it. The moment that person who's supposed to be the leader starts coalescing, he's on his way out. He's on his way out. Now, this lady is divorced. And that's the reason, right? The marriage ended less than 3 years after it began. I just want to get down to the 6. Okay? And I want y'all to see this paragraph right here. Because in the vast majority of these cases, the same ambitious women will drop out of the workforce or cut back considerably when they have children. In fact, part-time work or no work at all is the ideal choice for most married women with children. On average, 72%. Right? So if she's at home raising the children and she dropped out of the workforce, are you paying her what she was making?
Mm-mm.
Are you paying her what? Go ahead, TLC.
It could still balance out. I talked to my next door neighbor because at first her and her husband were both working and they had their child in daycare. But the daycare was so expensive. She was like, you know what? If I just stay home with the child and not go to work, we still end up with the same thing. So,
but TLC, you just made my point. You made my point. I just said this earlier. The daycare is expensive. That's the problem because you stop focusing on growing at your job. You got to go make enough money. It ain't that daycare is expensive. Y'all got together. Now you've had children. Are you getting better at the thing that pays you money? It's not that stuff is expensive. I got to get better at at my profession so that I'm making more money. I can't pray and hope that gas going to get to $2 again. Trump 2024. But what I'm saying to you guys is, I got to keep getting better. I got to keep fine tuning my approach. Now, I just wanted y'all to see that, right? Problem is culture. We encourage women to be obsessively focused on their career so much that many men now hitch themselves to ambitious women, going so far as to follow their girlfriend's career trajectory. No one told these couples that what would likely happen down the road once they had kids. Instead, they got the message that this new relationship dynamic has no implications at all. But it does. Sorry, y'all. I'm having a stroke over here. But I'm in a relationship, so somebody will find me.
We hope.
I'm gonna get a tip. You okay? Yeah. But look, guys, here's 6 reasons why role reversal rarely works, and then I want to get your thoughts. Number 1, the vast majority of women prefer to work part-time or not at all when they have children. So what happens, guys, if a woman doesn't have children? What does she want to do, TLC?
She wants to work. I think she wants to get out of the house. She wants to get out of the house.
She wants to get out of the house. She wants to work. But more importantly, she just want to do what she want to do. She doesn't necessarily want to work. She just want to be able to do what she wants to do. When you look at Real Housewives in a city, what those women do for professions? We don't know. Or they give them some lame hobby that they doing. But most of the time it's charity work. They go into galas trying to help people raise money. Just kind of staying busy doing what they want to do. Okay? Now here's the big one. Here's what happens, guys. If a wife is unable to do this, she and her husband made financial plans on the assumption she'd always be employed. She would become frustrated with and resentful toward her husband. And when the resentment creeps into a marriage, that's the beginning of the end. Number 2, TLC. Number 2, a husband's lack of steady employment increases his chance of divorce. So for all you guys who think, man, my chick making 100,000, 150,000, she got her own business, all this, found that a husband's breadwinning mattered a great deal. If he was employed full time, there's a 2.5% chance of splitting up. But if he wasn't, there was a 3.3% chance. And I'm telling you right now, guys, the reason why I'm sharing this article is when this got sent to me, I said, we got to talk about this on the podcast. Number 3, husbands who are financially dependent on their wives are significantly more likely to cheat.
Boy, I believe that.
Wait.
I believe that.
The guy's dependent on the wife.
TLC, yes.
He's more likely to cheat?
He's more likely to cheat, TLC.
What are you going to do for her?
TLC, because guess what? When the role reverse change, when she get home, what he doing? He done gave the kids Benadryl so he can be on Xbox. Right?
He ain't on Xbox. He probably on
right. But here's the deal. He's out doing all these things that he was never trained to do. And when purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. So you got this guy who now just sitting around the house because you ain't paying him nothing to sit at home. So now the role reversed, but what is he being paid to do? Right? They're financially dependent on you, but what are they being paid to do? And if they ain't being paid to do nothing, they gonna have that distraction.
Don't nobody want no broke D.
Right, look, that's the best ones. That's what they choosing out there. Men who are 100% dependent on their spouses were most at risk for cheating. 3 times more at risk than women married to male breadwinners. And I said, oh my God. Right? Now, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Become the breadwinner. If you're the leader, you got to be the breadwinner. But if you're the breadwinner, you also have to make sure that they're being paid to do something. Okay? Men who do a lot of housewife type tasks are less likely to have sex. Look at this, TLC. So now the woman is the breadwinner. The man is doing household type tasks. He doesn't want to have sex with her. He having it because look at what they just said in number 3.
That's what I was about to get on there, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. See, now you didn't turn me into this domesticated servant. So, guys, it works both ways. If you turn your significant other into a domesticated servant, she ain't gonna want to be with you either. Right? Because guess what, guys? When the slaves were working in the master's house, he had to rape them. She wasn't willingly giving it to him. She didn't want to have sex with him. She was raped. So when you turn these people into these domesticated servants, they don't want to be with you. Okay? Go ahead, TLC.
I was going to say that's why Rhonda didn't want to be at the Biltmore Estates when he told her to stay.
They told us these slaves were loving themselves.
That's it.
Rhonda said no. Rhonda said no, that ain't true.
Sitting on the table, had the table dressed nice. Who was this? Lied you tell.
Look at number 5. Look at number 5. When dad stays home, the breadwinning wife often becomes jealous of her husband's close relationships. Bruh, and let me tell you this. If you ever have a guy that's not working, he know everybody in the neighborhood. Busybody. He know everybody at church. But look at what they say. Breadwinning wives tend to feel insecure about their relationship with their children. If the husband takes on the lion's share at home, it is he to whom the kids will turn. And this can become yet another source of resentment. And lastly, breadwinning wives have high expectations for how things should be done at home. A husband is not going to take care of the kids in the same way the wives do. The expectation when the woman becomes a breadwinner is so much higher. And now that we got women in the actual workforce, now you got social media, you're in the information age, the expectations have only gone higher. In reality, he's probably just doing it her way. Either which way, conflict ensues. Okay? That's what I want y'all to say, right? Look at what this lady says. To be clear, I'm not arguing for strict gender rules in a marriage. There's always an overlap. Nor am I saying full-on gender role reversal can never work. But the effort that must go into it is huge. And those who do make it work are the exception and not the rule. Don't bank on it. Instead, assume that when the kids come, husband and wives will react according to male and female nature. Plan accordingly. TLC, I'm telling you right now. Tell me what you think about that article.
That was an interesting one. The part of the woman goes to work and the guy still has a higher chance of cheating on her. I found that interesting. That kind of threw me. I wasn't expecting that at all. So, interesting article.
Yeah, TLC, when you do role reversal, don't expect that person to still act like their original role.
I'm thinking maybe because the guy might want a backup plan. Like, okay, I'm dependent on this woman for everything financially. In case things fall through, I might need a side piece or something else. I might need another lane. Maybe. I don't know. That's the thing.
I'm going to give you another way to look at it, TLC. How does he have any options? I got taught women didn't want a man that ain't doing nothing.
Well, I'm going to give y'all both another option. If they have a penis, they going to cheat.
Right, look, when we talk, that ain't the podcast. The podcast role reverse. I think what happens, TLC, is this. Kids get older. And even though that role reversal has been implemented, when you have time to think, you start thinking about other things to do. See, because now if you keeping kids right now, and again, this ain't no disrespect to parents. Kids these days don't require no attention. You give them an iPad on a full battery. You can do whatever you want to do. Right? Like, again, you go to any restaurant right now. If it's 4 kids at the table, it's going to be 4 iPads at the table, and they're all going to have headphones. Eating chicken tenders and Shirley Temples. Right?
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, right? We had to learn how to eat. We had to learn how to sit up straight. We had to learn how to have conversation. Those things don't exist anymore. So that man is sitting at home on social media all day. And guess what? Big Booty Brenda coming on your feed and you didn't even ask. And now you got to click on Big Booty Brenda feed to see how did I get sent this. And then you see this is shared with you because T.L. Clayton follows her.
Stop. Now, you know what?
T.L. so how you find Big Booty Brenda? I wasn't even asking for Big Booty Brenda. I just end up on my feed. And that's what's happening.
She's a fan of the podcast. Big shout out to Big Booty Brenda.
Why am I saying that to you guys? Y'all know y'all sitting at home and nothing worse when you on social media just seeing what's going on and then something crazy come across your feed and you realize that it was suggested to you because somebody you follow and liked it. And I'm like, what the hell is this person looking at? But then you can't turn away. Then you can't turn away. I'm just saying. But y'all got to start recognizing these role reversals are killing it. Ronnie, what you think when you saw the article?
Now, I agree that it was an interesting article. It definitely makes sense because I think at a man's core or a male's core, they're technically supposed to lead. Again, when things get Americanized and society has its ways and views of how something should be, how it should be done. If men are supposed to be providers at their core, and then that is not what they're doing, I think, discipline goes out the window. Like, why should I be? I know she's gonna be working long hours, so I could easily just go around the block, go down the street, do whatever.
And who taught him? And who taught him how to be that guy?
Some porn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna get into some porn. Yep.
Yeah.
We hadn't even gotten to that. We hadn't even gotten to that podcast yet.
And so you'll get into all that kind of stuff because it's just that I think it is easier for women to stay true, because I think they would want to keep the man just because of how nature is with women. It'll take a lot for them to actually cheat. Not saying they don't, but I think it takes a lot for them to get to that point. And you could just tell a guy, he smell good. Okay, girl, my drawers gone. Here we go.
What do you think? Got the cool water? He got the cool water.
Yes, you remember that cool water?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they're cool. But Ron, I'm glad you're saying this because I want y'all to understand. If you're going to do role reversal, just like at your job, somebody needs to be professionally trained so that they avoid. If you put somebody in a role reversal and they haven't been trained on what to do, the distraction going to pop up. The only reason I shared that article, guys, is because we're out here doing these role reversals because we're doing it for the gram. We're doing it for social media, right? And the funny thing is, I've talked to men who are the breadwinners. I've talked to men who are staying at home, running the house. I've talked to women who are the breadwinners, and I've talked to women who are staying at home, running the house. And what you're gonna find is that we're not saying it's better than anything else. The difference is you weren't trained for a role reversal, so now you learn on the fly. And when those distractions come in, because even though you're doing a role reversal, you wanted your initial role to work. And now you got men and women competing. Y'all go back and listen to this 50-50 working relationship. And remember what I said, 50-50 mean competition. So if I'm the breadwinner, I can't come home and say to you, man, you ain't do nothing today. Because I'm not paying you to do anything at home. I'm paying you. I'm not paying you at all. What happens if I don't pay one of my employees? They don't have to work. Okay? So y'all got to understand when that role reversal happens, if that person is not trained in that role reversal, right? So I'm gonna give y'all an example. If they staying at home, they can volunteer. They can go to make sure they go to the coffee shop every morning. There's a lot of things they got to do to be able to get out of that house that they can still feel valuable. Okay, because a lot of y'all are switching that role, and you
can stay home and be valuable. You can do fans only page and
you said OnlyFans, man. OnlyFans.
Oh,
Why you trying to like?
OnlyFans. There you go.
You say TLC start showing some feet on OnlyFans, get paid while you taking pictures of feet.
People laughing at it. That money start coming in.
The money start coming in, and it's so funny. The OnlyFans people, they started showing feet. Dude didn't realize he was gonna start making money. She was gonna start making money. What happened when she started making money? Kicked him to the curb. Yeah. So guys, what I'm trying to tell y'all is, if you decide to do role reversal, just make sure the people involved are trained. Because honestly, everybody's always looking for an alternative. Everybody's always looking for an alternative. It's harder to stay than it is to go. And that's the problem. When you start doing role reversal, it makes it even easier to go. Because now you want this person to respect you because you the breadwinner. No. The person hate the breadwinner. That's the hardest part about being a breadwinner. Right? And I'm saying this to you guys, TLC. You ever see how they talk about the CEO when he leave the room? His family talking about him just like that too. You look, go to church and talk to the pastor's kid. See if they look at your pastor the way. See if they look at your pastor the way you look at your pastor. Talk to his kids. Man, I ain't doing all that. I ain't doing all that, man. He crazy. Guys, let me tell you this. The reason why people don't want to be the breadwinner is you got more enemies than you got friends. And it's going to start in your house. It's going to start in your house because everybody in if you're not the breadwinner and you're married to somebody that you got at home, everybody in their circle is going to be telling, you better watch out for this. You better watch out for that. Girl, I ain't no way. TLC just mentioned the term. I don't want to be dependent on this person. But you're not dependent on the person. You're dependent on the system y'all signed up for. And it's working for y'all. It's working for y'all. But the people who can't achieve it want to tell you every reason why you shouldn't have it. And that's the funniest thing about when if roles going to reverse, you better be the best follower and you better be the best leader. Right? But role reversal don't mean I own you now. It don't mean that. It means that, hey, look, tell me what you want to do and we're going to build a business around it. I want you to feel purposeful while you at home. While I'm out working. TLC, what's your final takeaway from tonight's podcast?
Well, like I say, that article you put up was eye-opening as far as a guy who's dependent on the woman has a higher chance of cheating on that woman he's dependent on. That was eye-opening. But
because we hate the breadwinner. We hate the breadwinner, TLC.
I still don't think it's the role reversal itself is what's ruining the relationship. I think it's just about the decision-making process and who's responsible for what that ruins it. But just my opinion.
Okay. So that's your takeaway?
That was my takeaway.
Oh, okay. I was just checking out. You started off. You started off hot. That little fizzled out a little bit at the end, man. Rhonda, what's your takeaway for the night? What's your takeaway for the night?
As TLC said, I am single because I do things that make sense.
I don't know why he couldn't just repeat that. Why couldn't he just? If he would have just repeated that, he would have had a perfect night.
I don't really pay attention to myself during the podcast. It sounded good when Rhonda said it.
And I can't wait. I can't wait till your friends call you tomorrow, man. JB nailed it with that. Man. He nailed it with it. He single, man. If you single, it does make JB didn't say that. Yeah.
That's how it goes.
So
what's your takeaway, Rhonda? Yeah, go ahead.
But it's seriously, but it is all it. That article was really good to highlight some points in relationships. At the end of the day, something is missing from that person who decides like, oh, I didn't sign up for this, but I'm going to go along with this. You deserve whatever happens to you at that point. Because you went against what you knew wasn't going to work for you and now have made this relationship toxic.
Okay.
So that would ruin it. But know yourself, like with anything, know yourself and know what you're willing to do, like what you're willing to put up with. And it's not about arguing about who's in charge and who's the leader, who's the follower. But like, is this something that we're willing to work with each other on and make this thing work or not? And if we got our goals set, it should be very simple. But people are always going to lose sight of the vision. They're always going to lose sight of the vision because somebody's always going to be weaker.
Yep. Okay, I like that. Y'all know my takeaway, man. My takeaway pretty simple. My takeaway pretty simple. I chose that article because at the end of the day, guys, working is got to be your priority in a relationship. That's the first thing. Secondly, guys, if my working is going well, a lot of these things go away. TLC said something about the kids. And that article talked about once kids get introduced, because that's when it really gets out of control. Because now somebody got to sacrifice what they were doing to go take care of offspring. Okay, because they don't become children until you can start enjoying them. right? You know, yeah, I'm just saying, right? So they are work in the beginning, and then they get enjoyable as they get older. But there are a lot of work in the beginning, and a lot of us ain't trained for that. My takeaway is pretty simple, guys. Focus on your profession first, and that if you're going to do a role reversal, don't agree to it until we lay out a pay schedule for that person who's going to have to sit at home. Because if you don't pay them, they're going to be looking for somebody who can make them feel valuable. And if you don't make them a priority when you get home, you can't walk in the house berating them when you get home about things they didn't do, because you're taking out of what happened to you at work, and you start to take it out on them. Come home, take them out, make them feel special, let them know you were thinking about them the whole day, all that kind of stuff. Okay. And so my takeaway is pretty simple. Don't do the role reversal if you don't have a plan, and don't do the role reversal if it's going to cost you financially, because once you start to sacrifice, that relationship is over. Don't let people lie to you and tell you sacrifice is the key to relationships. That's the number one way to get to divorce court. Because once you start feeling like you're doing somebody who ain't appreciating it, you're going to start looking elsewhere, and it's just going to be a bad domino effect, man. And y'all know what it is. It's Smoke Something, Drink Something podcast. I'm the Real Cigar Jeff. Y'all do me a favor. Look below in the description. Support the channel. Get the merch, man. It's right down there. Get your t-shirts. Get your hoodies. It's a little cold outside. Get your t-shirt. Get your hoodies, man. This link for this article going to be in the description. TLC, appreciate you being on. Let them know where they can find you again.
I'm on Instagram at TLClay1. I'm on Patreon, The Joke I Didn't Tell.
Appreciate that, brother. Rhonda, let them know where you can be found at on the socials.
On Instagram at RMBLMBT.
Man, and y'all know what it is. And until next time, we gonna holler.